Hello everyone, today I'll be doing a solo flawless Legend Nightfall 100k with Hunter. For my self-class, I'll be using the Night Stalker. Here are the fragments I'll be using in this video. For my kinetic, I'll be using the Servant Leader Scout Rifle. Next, I'll be using the Enigma. For the heavy, I'll be using the famous Gjallarhorn. For my helmet, I'll be using double rocket ammo finder, fire recovery with shield break charge. For the gauntlets, I'll be using unstoppable glaive, taking charge, anti-barrier scout with 5 mobility. For the exotic, I'll be using 6 Coyote with double arc and solar resistance, and the reactive pulse. So I'll be using the powerful friends, rocket launcher scavenger, arc modern force to use, and 10 mobility. Lastly, suppressing glaive, lucent finisher. This week I'll be focusing on getting the 100k, and I gotta say the final boss for this Nightfall is scary, and I'll talk more about that when we get to the actual boss fight of why. So mainly for this room there are 2 barrier champions. You could just use 2 Gjallarhorn rockets and then deal with the barrier champions. Now I will say you can use 2 rockets to just finish off and just kill the barrier champion. Once you do that, you can also use your finisher and get heavy bricks. Now I was just looking if I did get the heavy brick, so I can deal with the second barrier champion, so we can actually go to the next room since there's going to be a lot of champions and the new mini boss, the Light Hive or the Lucent Hive, where they can actually use their super and actually one-shot you. And this is a legend, so I will tell you that the Lucent Hives can one-shot you with the suppressing grenade, the shield. They are very powerful and very dangerous, which is highly recommend to just try your best to suppress them, or maybe switch to a suppressing grenade if you are not using the glaive, or if you're not a big fan of the glaive. Well, I would highly recommend to give it a try again, because glaive for this season, they're probably very powerful, especially dealing with the Lucent Hive. And you can see I did shoot rockets at the wizard, and I was looking for the Lucent Hive. Mainly you want to take down the Lucent Hive first, then the champions, because they can one-shot you. And just remember, this is legend, so if they can one-shot you in a legend difficulty, then they can one-shot you in master and grandmaster mode, which is why you must take them down. And don't forget to crush their ghosts, even though they look adorable, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Once you do take down the Lucent Hive, the evil Light Hives where they can use their super, the shield you can easily dodge it, but the shield, when he does use that ability, you have to be super careful. So I did take down this other Lucent Hive again. To make this Lucent Hive spawn, you must take down all the ads, and then he will spawn. Now I was just going very aggressive in this video because I actually got really fed up with the boss, because he kept killing me with this arc attack, which in this Nightfall is 50%. You get damage dealt. Now I did spawn trap them as well with the 2 arc knights and then the last Lucent Hive. So there are 3 Lucent Hives, a couple of barrier champions, and be aware of the arc solo knights, which they can 2-shot you with the melee. So now I am manipulating and taking advantage of the glaive. Since we are on Hunter, I'm using the fragments, where when I do suppress them and at the same time final blow them, I can get the invisibility, which can be very handy for this Nightfall, especially at the boss fight. There are 2 barrier champions. You could actually just go up the stairs. You don't really need to go and try to DPS from far away. There is a modifier where they do massive damage if they do shoot arc from far distance, so it's always best to try to do DPS mid-range, not close range, because they can still melt you and they can be a little dangerous. But if I had to be really honest, the Lucent Hive are probably more dangerous than the champions, because the champions can't really one-shot you versus where Lucent Hive can one-shot you. And we're talking about legend mode. Now imagine I'm master, and I did test it out on master, by the way. This was actually my master loadout, but then I decided to just go to legend because I kept running out of Gjallarhorn. Then I tried to switch to Arcstrider. Arcstrider was good, but the last phase was just horrendous and was getting probably the worst luck of my life, where the boss teleported and melee shot me. Yeah, I was really upset about it, so I decided just to go to legend for this week, because maybe if I was like a little bit powerful, you know, if I was 1580, maybe I could have done more damage to the boss and the barrier champions on master version, but it's alright, you know. So there are two Lucent Hives, and recommend to take them down and suppress them. Now they are a nightmare if you don't have any suppressing grenades or if you're not using the glaive. I have tested out on master of not using a glaive or not suppressing them. They are extremely dangerous and they can one-shot you, and you have to be super careful with them. Even on a legend, you must be a little cautious with them. I'm just trying my best to suppress them, melee with the glaive, kill the ghosts, and then just get these charges so we can just go to the ship and move on. So basically, you must pick up the orb charges from left and right. It's always best to take down both of the Lucent Hive, and then you can deal with the void charges, because on master, the Lucent Hive one-shot me across the map, like right here. I'm like right here, then boom, I die from the other opposite direction. So it's always best to just take down both of them, and then you pick up the orb charge. My advice, by the way, I mean, some people would disagree with me. If you do, it's okay, you know, I just telling you based on my experience, because I did spend hours and hours on this Nightfall. And still, there is a lot of things I am learning even for this one as well. There are 2 ways to go with this method, but I would recommend this method for the legend mode since you do want to get the 100k. Now you must take down these wizards, or you can suppress them. You can just spam glaive and blind them, but you have to be super careful. It'd be best with a fire team if you're going with the only glaive method. If you don't have rockets, you can just keep blinding them, and then a fire team can just turn your fire team invisible. That could be other methods of what you can do for this one. Let's just say for a grandmaster, you don't really want to clear down ads, you don't want to go to the teleporter. Let's just make a scenario. So you can just use glaive and suppress the hive shriekers, the wizards, turn them invisible, and yes, I was taunting them. So now over here is very interesting, because now you can just take advantage of using the glaive. Now you can just use melee, right, and then you can just turn invisible since you do have the fragment for your hunter, or the aspect for the hunter, etc, etc. Now I am using some mods where when I do have my finisher, when I use my finisher, I get a shield. And I do recommend, but you have to be super cautious the boss fight, which I will talk about that in the boss fight, since it wouldn't really make sense of me talking about it now, because I'm pretty sure you might forget, or you know, I might skip to the boss fight chapter. where I did explain it here, let's just say, but you know, of course, mainly people want to know about the boss fight, right? Then throughout this entire video. Alright, so I decided to just go with my own little method, by the way. So I figure out maybe it'll be best for Hunter, and I did try this with no invisibility. It's just that you have to take down the Moth, suppress the Raider if you can, and then take down the scripts if they are close by. If you don't have the invisibility, and you can just use a rocket if they are a bit too close to you. Not too close where you can kill yourself with a rocket, as in they're a bit mid-distance where you can just use a rocket. I didn't really bother myself of going through the doors to get the lamps. I decided to just go with this method since it just seems to be the best method, and I'm probably gonna use this method again, probably for GM or for Master. I did test this out on Master, it works well. And I have tested this on Titan, but then I had to switch to Hunter because the boss fight was a nightmare. You can also do this method on a non-invisibility character, but if you are planning to do this method, you must take down the fairies or the evil moth, and you must be very careful with the scribs. The scribs and the moth are your worst enemies. The raider, you can just suppress him, or you could just use a rocket when you're walking by, like right here, kill the moths immediately and then just move forward. Then there'll be a raider behind, and you can just use a rocket behind and then just move forward. Once you pass this part, especially if you're not turning invisible, right? Especially if you're not on Hunter, then this is probably the easiest, where you just go over here and then just make your way. Anyway, I found this out when I was doing some test runs. Give it a try if you guys like to. And to be honest, I'm probably gonna use that method for a GM. It just seems way easier, especially on a Hunter, or if I don't have invisibility. I can, you know, I can make my way very safely throughout the darkness. Now for the darkness, as you saw there, you can't jump. Once you are times 10, you can't run anymore. You'll be walking and jumping. And you can see I did use my super and then using my finisher so I can get the heavy brick, since we do have an artifact mod where we use finishers on champions, or Lucent Hive, you can get a heavy brick, which is really good, especially using a rocket or Gjallarhorn or Anarchy. I was thinking of using Anarchy since you do get 25% damage for using any arc. From using any arc, super, arc damage, etc, etc. And I get Bungee again, yes. I forgot to mention that there is a lot of bugs in the Nightfall where ads, especially cursed thralls, can teleport in front of you. Also the final boss can teleport. So that is another thing I would like to talk about, the boss fight with the cursed thralls. But in this area, just use a rocket. Just use as much rockets as you can. Just have at least 2 rockets remaining, or 1, because you can actually just use your finisher at the unstoppable champion, right? And then you can get more heavy bricks. Now in this video, I think I accidentally killed the unstoppable champion, which was my mistake. I didn't think Gjallarhorn would one-shot him once he staggers, so that was my mistake. But other than that, everything went very smooth. You can also use Gjallarhorn at the boss if you want to. Maybe I should have done it, to be honest, because it was taking some time to do DPS of the boss from long range, and there was a lot of these scripts which I highly recommend to stay away, and that is why I decided to stand at this specific spot, not the edge, because the scripts actually jump and they can one-shot you. Well, 2 of them. If 2 of them hit you, then you're done for the legend mode. Master, probably 2 shots as well, or could be 1 shot. I don't remember 100%, but I do know for Grandmaster they can one-shot you. Now I am using this new scout rifle, and it is basically like the Randy scout rifle, but 10 times better since I have the frenzy. Highly recommend to check out this scout rifle I'm using. It's super deadly, and I actually enjoy using this weapon a lot. I was thinking of using a stasis scout, but then I decided to use this one. The reason why is the boss fight. The boss fight, you need something fast, a fast barrier weapon to take down the shields. You know, yes, a bow can work too. I decided to just use a scout since I am going for the 100k and I have to get things done and I have to get to the boss fight as fast as I can. You can see here I was trying to be very cautious because I felt like I was missing a Arc Knight, and I was right. So Arc Knight did almost destroy me, by the way, in this video, so be cautious of the Arc Knight that will try to sneak up and, you know, try to one-shot you, well, two-shot you. So you must be very careful, as in this area can be very buggy. Especially on a GM where you're just minding your own business, boom, you get one shot back to orbit, right? Once you clear out all the ads in this area, then you can just move forward to the boss fight. Now we can actually talk about the boss fight, isn't that nice? Right? And I also forgot to mention is be aware of these evil moths, these evil fairies. I like to call them fairies because, you know, they put shields on, you know, Acolyte, Lucent Hive, etc. It's like in Zelda, like the fairy just got fed up of healing Link and then decided to have his own little minions and just want to join the evil side. I don't know, it's just a joke. Decided to use my super and 2 rockets and then get the hell out of there. Yeah, so this boss is scary because the more DPS you do, the more aggressive he is. And when I mean aggressive, right, I'm talking about this boss will run and try his best to one-shot you. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this boss can melee one-shot you on Legend. And his arc melts really bad. He can actually 3-shot you, I would say 4-shot or 3-shot you with the arc. And just to let everyone know, I am putting double arc resistance, and this boss still melts me. Even with arc resistance, even with double arc resistance, still the boss is melting me really bad, even in Master, and for Legend as well. Now there will be thralls that will spawn and try to melee you, which is why I prefer to use a glaive. Or I could use a explosive payload hand cannon, you know, etc. So I am manipulating the boss, making him jump up and down because I really don't want him to one-shot me with his sword, because he can send me back to orbit. Well, this is not a GM, but he can literally one-shot me and then I'd start all over again, basically. So you can see around 3 shots the boss can kill you. Now this is the part where it really pisses me off, where the boss hops and then just starts to, you know, rest. He's supposed to be in the middle of the map, but the game says nah. Now first things over here, you must take down the Lucent Hive. Who cares about the Arc Knights? Don't worry about them so much. Just stay away the hell out of them, and you must take down the Lucent Hive. No questions asked, because the Lucent Hive is the one that will one-shot you, where these Arc Knights don't one-shot you with their melee attack. You can't suppress them if they are too close. And here I am trying to suppress them and trying to take them down as much as I can. You can also get some heavy from these Arc Knights sometimes, by the way. And another thing I like to mention is when I do take down the ghost, I sometimes get a brick from it. So maybe it's a bug of the Lucent finisher where you can get a brick from doing the finisher when it's low health, and then you can get another brick when you kill the ghosts. So yeah, you see the boss resting there. He's not supposed to be there. He's supposed to be in the middle of the map, but you know, Bungie hates me, so I always get the worst luck in Destiny. So I'm actually not surprised there. It always happens to me. Now, when you do kill this Lightblade Arc Knight, you need to do DPS at the boss as much as you can, because this is probably the most annoying part where the boss will get aggressive and you must make him go on his resting stage. Because this is when champions will spawn, Arc Knights will spawn, and you really want to make him rest in the middle of the map, because this boss will chase you and one-shot you. You can see here, he is running really fast. Like, if you think trying to do the Warlock bunny hop will get away from him, you're gonna be really disappointed. It's not gonna work. Or if you're thinking trying to do the Titan boost will work, nope, that's not gonna work. So you have to be very careful, and being at the first floor of where I am is very dangerous because these curse thralls are so buggy and laggy. It is not safe to be in this area. I am just trying my best to collect the orbs, and at the same time I am being super cautious because you must kill the Lucent Hive. If you don't, he will one-shot you with his suppressing grenade, with his super. Like, use your super. No questions asked, just use it. Try to kill the ghosts. And then once you take down the Lucent Hive, that you can deal with the Arc Knights, the Lightblade Arc Knights, and then deal with the champions last. Do try your best to avoid them. If you cannot take them down, try to avoid them. And I would say to try your best to take down these Arc Knights, these Lightblade Knights, as much as you can as well. And over here, you can see I did not take him down, and the reason why is I think if you take him down, then the boss will walk around the map. So make sure you just kill one Arc Knight and then leave one. So I was trying my best to ignore him and then deal with the Barrier Knights. I could be wrong, by the way, but for me it seemed like if you kill both of the Arc Lightblades, the Lightblade Knights, then the boss will, you know, go back to chasing you to death. And yes, the boss is actually scary. So I'd recommend for a fire team, you take him down as quickly as you can. You don't want to mess with him. And for a fire team, I would say it would be easy to take him down, but as for a solo, it's gonna be a nightmare. Now I am making this boss fight a joke. I'm making him look easy, but he's not easy as he looks. He actually looks pretty, you know, harmless, but he's not. He actually is extremely dangerous with his arc attack, and he can chase you. So I was trying really hard to take him down as quickly as possible, and I was spamming rockets, a lot of rockets. Now you can also skip this champion and you can still get platinum, which there will be proof, by the way. Just spam Gjallarhorn as much as you can. Spam Gjallarhorn as much as you can because mainly you want this boss to be taken down. So I spam Gjallarhorn and then got platinum. And I also, you know, skipped one champion. Well, actually it'll be 2 champions on Master. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And yes, I am meleeing the boss because the boss really pissed me off.